The chandeliers blazed like golden suns above the concert hall, each crystal droplet catching and scattering light across the polished marble floor. Murmurs of refinement floated through the air, carried on the clinking of crystal glasses and the rustle of silken gowns. This was no ordinary evening. This was the opening night of the spring season at the Harrington Concert Hall. The kind of night where reputations were built, broken, or enshrined forever. At the heart of it all stood Victor Langford, 54 years old, silver-haired, impeccably dressed in a tailored tuxedo. Victor had long ago cemented his reputation as one of the greatest pianists alive. His recordings were studied in conservatories. His concerts drew dignitaries and royalty alike. And yet, for Victor, it was never enough. He lived not only for music, but for admiration, the hushed awe of an audience, the flattering whispers of donors, the smug knowledge that he belonged to an elite few who could command such devotion. Tonight would be no exception. His program featured Chopin at his most unforgiving ballade number 1, Etude Op. 10 No. 4, works that even seasoned pianists often avoided. For Victor, they were little more than parlor tricks, and he relished the thought of dazzling his audience once again. Maestro, everything's prepared for your performance. The voice was soft, deferential. Victor turned to see a young woman in a plain navy dress. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a simple knot, a name tag pinned to her chest, Clara Benton. She looked early 30s with a quiet grace that might have been mistaken for plainness were it not for the intensity in her eyes. Her hands, slender but calloused, clutched a tray of programs. Victor gave her no more than a flicker of acknowledgement. "Good," he said, and turned back to his admirers. Clara lowered her gaze, as she always did. She had worked at Harrington Hall for 3 years, a shadow among brilliance. She polished the grand piano, dusted the velvet seats, arranged the programs with meticulous care. She never missed a performance, though she never had a ticket. She lingered at the back wall, invisible, and listened. The music fed her in ways no one knew. When the hall was empty, she sometimes let her fingers drift over the keys, not daring to press too hard, but enough to feel the cool ivory beneath her skin. Music had been her escape since childhood. When her father's illness had consumed the family's savings, lessons had stopped. When he passed, the piano had been sold. Dreams crumbled, replaced by work, rent, survival, but still, the music burned in her veins, unextinguished. Now, she carried it silently, like a secret flame. The house lights dimmed. Victor strode to the stage, a king approaching his throne. He bowed, smiling at the storm of applause. Then he sat, adjusted the bench with unnecessary precision, and struck the opening chords of Chopin's ballad number 1 in G minor. The music leapt into the air like fire. Notes cascaded with diamond clarity. Phrases unfolded with architectural perfection. The audience leaned forward, caught in Victor's mastery. At the back of the hall, Clara closed her eyes. She knew every twist of this piece, every haunting shift between storm and lyricism. She had studied it obsessively through library CDs and scratchy recordings, playing it out on borrowed keyboards that barely held tune. And now, as Victor's hands danced across the keys, her own fingers twitched unconsciously at her sides, shadowing his every movement. The ballad thundered to its brilliant close. Applause erupted, filling the hall like a tidal wave. Victor rose, bowing, his smile tight with pride. He basked in it, let it wash over him, then sat again, "For my next piece," he announced, "I will perform Chopin's Etude Opus 10, number 4. A collective murmur swept through the hall. Even the untrained knew this piece by reputation. Lightning fast, merciless, a graveyard of broken attempts. Victor's hands blurred, his technique flawless. He played, not just with skill, but with arrogance, knowing the audience was marveling at his command. And then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw her, Clara, the girl in the navy dress. She was not applauding. She stood very still, eyes luminous, her face carrying an expression that infuriated him. Not adoration, not even awe, but something more dangerous, understanding, as though she knew the music's secrets as intimately as he did. Victor's pride flared hot. What did she know of this world? A cleaning woman with rough hands. How dare she stand there as if she belonged? And then, an idea took root. Wicked, delicious. He finished to another ovation, louder than the first. The crowd surged to their feet, applauding wildly. Victor bowed again, but as the clapping softened, he remained seated, his smile curling with mischief. "Ladies and gentlemen," his voice rang out smoothly, "I notice we have an unusually attentive listener this evening.